been wanting to make a video kind of just to log for my own personal reflection about the beginning of my year. Over the festive season, I put on some weight, probably would calculate to about 5 kilograms. And then you convert it to pounds, and it's like 10 pounds. And over the last month and 2 months, it's going into the third month of the year, I've been on this journey to lose it again. And it was solely because I was home with my husband and he likes to snack, and I joined the train, and I'd gotten myself into this regimented thing of intermittent fasting till 12 o'clock, and some days I would go till 3, and I would have 1 meal a day, and then other days I'd have 2 meals a day after 12, and it was this routine that I'd followed, and then everything fell out the basket and off the train and off the cart, and I was okay with it because I was going to get right back on the horse in January, because I know why I'm eating the way I'm eating, and I know why I'm choosing to feed my body the way I'm feeding my body, because it has made the biggest difference in my overall health and in my health struggles with symptoms with Hashimoto's. I haven't had to up my thyroid medication for the longest period of time, and just the general overall feeling of my body is better when I do eat low carb and meat heavy. But getting back on that horse after, it was literally 2 weeks. 2 weeks, my husband was home every day, and we went places and we had little extra treats, and I ate breakfast first thing in the morning instead of waiting till 12, and it just rocked the boat so terribly. This has been the first week, and it's now March, that I have been able to get myself I've been able to get myself back on the train, or walking up that trail of doing my intermittent fasting and eating heavy protein based meals. And it has been a struggle. I knew that I had to reprogram myself, because 2 weeks is such a short space of time, but 2 weeks can etch away at this routine that you have built up, and to get back there has been so difficult. And the first thing it started with was rewatching the videos that helped educate me, and I was trying and I was failing epically, because I was just no, why can't I just eat? And the weight wasn't dropping, and I was getting desperate, and then I had to go to my doctor in January, and he wasn't really impressed with me because I'd picked up this weight. But I think it was more I was afraid and I was unimpressed with myself. It's very much more of an internal struggle. The doctor can express a level of disappointment, but it's mostly coming from me. And then began this journey of trying to get back to where I was, and exercising every day, and eating the right way, and observing a little bit of an intermittent fast, because it is the best practice for my body. And it was hard. I started watching a lot of motivational videos, and that didn't crack it. And started re-educating myself on why I eat this way. And that didn't crack it, because I know why I have to eat this way. It's very much this I just don't want to. And it has nothing to do with willpower or self-esteem. It took feeling ill to get it right. But it stemmed from a Tony Robbins thing my sister signed me up for. I think he does a week's free seminar, or I don't know if it's called a seminar anymore, but he does a like online live coaching session, and there's multiple other things there. And it took me watching this one part where he asks you to like think back on the thing that got you motivated to make a level of change and got you started on the right path, whatever change it was that you needed to make. And it was like this click moment for me, because at first I was like mulling through the recesses of my mind to kind of try and figure out what was it that made me make those changes in my life. And when I sat back and I thought about it, it has always been my health. I felt so ill to the point that I thought I might be dying, that I was almost forced into action by the physicality of how my body felt. And when it came to deciding that I couldn't work in the job I was currently working and I needed to find something else, whether it was changing my eating habits and not finding help from generic practitioners and finding all the responses for myself and then missioning through with all these things, the key factor was always my health and how I felt. And in listening to that, something happened, like a switch clicked, and I was like, okay, so what's happening? How are you feeling every morning when you wake up? Because with Hashimoto's in general, you can wake up in the morning and you feel the after effects of something that you did or didn't do in the maintenance of your everyday health. So if I have eaten something knowingly or unknowingly with the wrong type of oil in it, my body feels the impact of it in the morning. When I put my feet, first thing, just put my feet on the ground, I can feel the inflammation in my feet. Little things that had disappeared when I was maintaining my health in the best possible way with the intermittent fasting and 2 meals a day and sometimes 1 meal a day, and being really regimented about what it was I was allowing into my body. And I think that helped with the switch. And it was slow, let me just be honest. It wasn't like, oh, the switch went off and then I could just get up the next morning and do all the things I had been doing a month before. It was slowly working my way up to that. And the first thing I realized was I needed to challenge myself. I needed to find something that I wanted and I couldn't get for myself that would be a reward for myself after I got it. So I'm not allowed to get anything until I've reached this award, this milestone. And so that started my 30-day challenge. I needed to get working out every day. At first it was 45 minutes. Now it's morphed into an hour. 2 weeks in, I feel good. My body feels good at an hour. And I'm very much judging how my body feels. I don't think I'll go past an hour, but I've managed to work my way up to an hour again. I'd gotten to an hour halfway through last year, and then I had COVID, and then I had to start back at 20 minutes. And slowly 20 minutes became 30 minutes, which became 45 minutes. And over the last week and a bit, 45 minutes, 2 weeks, has become an hour again. And I'm very much listening to my body, but the whole point of me telling you that was the fact that I had to give myself a goal to work towards. Because I can say all these things, or I've noticed that I could say all these things to myself, but nothing was making me achieve those goals. So I found 3 books that I want to read. And I found a new skin thing that I want to try. And if I meet my goal of 30 days in a row, then that is the reward I'm going to get. And I don't think I'm the carrot in front of the donkey kind of person, but I'm having to find ways alternatively to motivate myself to get myself out of a funk. Because sometimes you can know all the things that are good for you and you know why you're doing it, but something happens internally here that I don't know, just short circuits. And no matter how much someone wants to tell you, and you know, when you want to do it, it seems like a level of impossibility. And I had to kind of rein myself in mentally. And that was really, really difficult. To rein myself in and be like, okay, you know all of this. For the last year and a half, 2 years, this is what you've been living. Yes, you fell off the horse, but now you need to continue. Otherwise, things are going to spiral crazily out of control. And when that happens, we know what happens to your body and how you feel. And there's like a direct impact of emergency visits every week to the urgent care. And it seems, or is seeming, to work. And I'm also not being like, okay, I try to be regimented in terms of getting up in the morning and working out in the morning, because once it's done, it's done. But I'm also being a little bit lenient to myself, so that if there are days where I'm doing something and I cannot work out in the morning, I make sure that I do it in the evening just before bed. Those are the best sleep days. And I am trying to complete my challenge. That being said, I have had to restart 3 times, maybe 4. I have a little calendar up, and I cross off the days as evidence. And the one thing I don't do is go and cross them off and not work out. I don't think I for some strange reason, I do not have the capacity to do that, because I feel like I'm cheating myself out of health if I lie and cross it out. And so I know that there are some days where there is going to be failure, and I make my peace with that. But I'm working on feeling okay with getting up the next day and starting again until I get those 30 days. Initially, one of my like weirdo New Year's resolutions was to have 100 days continuous activity. And for me, activity is walking. Walking gives me solace. It makes me feel good. My body feels good. My mind feels good. It's my place of kind of like safety. And so that is why I choose to do walking. And sometimes cycling and that kind of thing is an additional form of activity. But walking is where it's at for me. And I am learning more about myself. Like, I know that there's reasons why I need to do these things. And sometimes, every time, most times, it's okay to feel a little bit demotivated and if you can't and you don't want to. But what is it that I'm going to do to get myself out of the I don't want to? Because I cannot exist in the I don't want to anymore. And so it's this level of motivation and finding different ways to motivate yourself. Obviously, I cannot motivate myself with a chocolate or like some sweet treat, because that's no longer, that shouldn't be your motivation, but it's no longer something that I can like do in terms of it affects my health in a negative manner. So I needed to find other things that bring me joy that could be used as a reward as such. Because having new books to read is not necessarily a reward, it's a must. But I am rewarding myself with a physical book rather than a downloaded version, because I value those much more. And it's really nice to hold an actual book. I'm really tired of reading things electronically. It's difficult, and I struggle with it. So that's my talking to myself for the day. It is a strange thing to have to reprogram yourself. And I think it's also important to note that sometimes it's not possible to do it by yourself. It took a lot of like my own personal work, but then watching a program, seminar, I don't know what they're called, from Tony Robbins. And it's not like he's telling you something that's new or something I didn't know before, something I haven't done before. It's this whole principle of like, when you hear it from somebody else or something new, it's like, how can I explain this? Because that was a really far off explanation. It's like a lot of people follow me, friends, sometimes members of my family and they tell me whatever's going on, and I can give them an honest opinion of different variations of whatever it is I see. But I'm on the outside of the issue, and it's easy to see the outside of the issue, and sometimes what is my point here? It's this idea of sometimes it's easier to take the advice from someone you don't know. And that could be some random stranger that says something that clicks in your head and it sets you forward. Or it can be your sister or your mom saying something and it sends you off because you needed that push from an outside source. Because whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, sometimes we tend to limit ourselves in our thinking and then in our actions, and we sit in this like rut, running around in circles, knowing what you need to do, knowing exactly what you need to do, but almost being with our hands tied behind our backs because we know we need to run in that direction, we know exactly what we need to do, but we just can't move in that direction for some strange reason. And so this is my week of moving in the right direction, of getting myself moving again and completing my 30-day challenge, which I'm hoping to move it into a 60-day challenge and an 80-day challenge till I reach the goal of 100 days in a row. But I'm starting small because 100 days is an overwhelming number. But if I can do 30 days, then surely I can do 60 days. And then I can do 90 days plus 10. And that is how I am working through my mental blocks, is the only way to put it. And so that I stop fighting myself so much, because the bigger the goal, somehow I seem to paralyze myself. As large as the goal is, and when I make them smaller, it seems more attainable, and then I am willing to try more. And so here's to showing up for myself every day for the next maybe 20 more days or 19 more days to get to 30 days in a row. And I can tell you that getting there, getting dressed, putting the shoes on, even walking to the treadmill and actually starting is the hardest part. And it's awful every step. And my leg hurts and my toe hurts and it hurts to bend down to put the shoes on and all of those things. But once it's done, there's this level of like self-love and affirmation that happens. Like you feel so good and you're so proud of yourself that you've achieved this thing, and you feel good in the physicality of your body. No matter what movement you choose, that is so worth it. So that's the end of I'm proud of myself, of getting myself out of my rut moment and recording it. So yeah, see you in the next one.